Hey Barrett.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, doing great, thanks.
Well, it's great to meet you. Thank you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for having me.
You got a big show this weekend. You're going to be at Koka Booth with the symphony.
Big show. Yeah, we're really excited about it. Love the Koka Booth and collaborating with the symphonies. Pretty special.
Yeah, let's get to that in a second. I got a couple questions prior to getting into the weeds on the show because I'm really curious about how you're going to collaborate with the symphony.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Of your last album, your 14th album came out Morning Shift last fall, and I was reading where you recorded it at the Hickory Nut Gap Inn in Bat Cave.
That's right.
And if my Google search is accurate, it just looks like a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
How did you pull that off?
So it in a way it's just a bed and breakfast. That's what it is. But there's a lot more to it. It's got this long history of all kinds of interesting musical and cultural things going on there, which is kind of an underground deal. It's not anything you would find on any Google search or anything. It's just kind of a word of mouth deal that I knew about because I'd been to a party there years and
Yeah.
years ago. And when we
Okay.
decided for this album that we wanted to do a remote location, then we that place just popped into my mind, which ended up being really fortuitous because the place itself ended up being a major part of the album. So to answer your question, how did we pull it off?
Yeah.
We had a producer, Daryl Scott, who's just a friend, a hero of ours, and he insisted on bringing along the engineer that he loves, who's this guy named Dave Cinco.
Okay.
Dave Cinco he's just a great sound guy, basically. Well, Dave, we did like a little Zoom call around the space with Dave, and Dave showed up with a van full of recording equipment and built a studio in the main room of this
Wow.
place. So
Yeah.
we turned it into a studio, and it wasn't at all designed to be that way. So the character of the place ended up being really woven into the character of the album in a pretty major way.
Yeah. Did you find that the surroundings kind of drove the sound of the album?
Everything, yeah. Well, we showed up and it was like being at recording camp. That's what Daryl says a lot. We showed up and we started working, and then we had a meal together, and then we went to sleep all under the same roof, and then we woke up and had a meal and started working again. It was like that day after day. We really got
Wow.
lost in it. So yeah, the place, the surroundings, the natural surroundings, the place itself, the people who run the place, it all got woven into a weird little spell that was cast over us, such that when it was all done the next day, Daryl sent a text around to everybody that just said, "Did that just happen?" It really was like a dream state kind of thing. But with this album came out of it. So that's one of the special
Yeah.
things about the album is we say like, man, if half of the magic of that experience comes through in the album, then we'll be pleased with that because it was pretty magical.
Were all the songs on the album written prior to the recording process, or did you, while you were there, suddenly with that inspiration, come up with new things?
A little of both. Our typical MO is to come into the studio really prepared, like 80% of the way,
Yeah.
not 100% of the way on purpose, so that we can let things happen in the studio. Because once we've been there all together and we're in this space, things happen that wouldn't happen otherwise. So yeah, I think actually in this case, all of the songs that we ended up recording, we had at least mostly written before we went into the studio. But the way we recorded them and the way they ended up being very much a product of the moment,
Yeah.
pretty spontaneous, I'd say.
Well, let's talk about the show so I can fully understand how this is going to work.
Mhm.
Are you like the symphony's not opening for you? You're all playing together, correct? And
At the
so
same
they've got to learn your songs, and you've got to like, how did you do? Have you practiced with each other?
Yeah.
Oh, you have.
No, we have not
Oh, you
practiced.
haven't. No.
No, we haven't. We haven't met each other yet. I don't think we've ever. I'm not sure. Maybe not since I've been in the band, which is the last like 7 years, have we played with the North Carolina Symphony. And this may be the first time we've done it. I'm not, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
May have happened before my time. But no, we have not practiced with them at all. And yeah, this is a thing that we do with symphony orchestras around the country, here and there.
Wow.
It's the way it goes is that we we know a guy who can make what they call really charts, really good charts, which is basically like a score for the
Hmm.
symphony that goes along with our song, meshes perfectly with it. So these players are so good, at this level of classical music that you just put something up in front of them and they read it
Right.
very, very well as a group. So they can just do it,
Wow.
and it has been pre-organized to just perfectly fit with what we do. So we will rehearse before the show, but it'll all be on the day of. That'll be
Does
our
that
rehearsal.
does that require, I mean, when you're performing, it seems like that would be another level of fear for me being up there because you probably can't really freeform too much, right?
No,
You
you
got to
can't.
stay, you
No,
got to stay on it.
you got to stay on it. I mean, we do, since there's so much freeform stuff in our show, naturally, what we do, there are some moments in the show where I can't remember exactly the way it looks on the score, but it has been stated like, okay, hey, everything's about to kind of go off the rails. Y'all just hang out and wait for us to cue you back in on this spot, and we'll let you know when we come back to some kind of reality. So that we've arranged it so that it allows for some flexibility on our part, but when there's no flexibility allowed accounted for in the score, there's no, you got to stay right on it, no question, or at all, like really totally train wrecks. So yeah, that's an extra little. Usually we have the security of it's just the six of us on stage, and if things go off the rails, we can find each other again, and we can't find them, and they can't find us. When it's gone, it's gone. You got to start all over, and which I don't think we've ever had to do before, because at this point we're pretty used to it. Not that we do this all the time. It's still really special when we do it, but we do it. We've done it enough that we have some level of comfort with it.
Yeah. Well, this will be a special night this
Yeah.
Saturday at Koka Booth Amphitheater with the North Carolina Symphony. Tickets are on sale now and are available.
Mhm.
Bootheamphitheater.com. Barrett Smith, thank you so much for stopping by and looking forward to the show on Saturday.
Can't wait. Hope to see you there.
Thanks, Barrett. Appreciate it.
Thanks.